night of extreme violence and looting in the capital, the riots have spread to Croydon in South London, where a blaze is burning after a furniture store was set alight just hours ago.
Let me be absolutely clear. Those responsible for this violence and looting will be made to face the consequences of their actions.
We had to look at why these riots were happening, and that was because there was a social unrest and injustice felt by the young people, and how disengaged they were with society was far deeper rooted than just being able to be sold by putting a few of them in prison and calling them all bad kids and trying to move on from there.
So back in that summer, I just finished university. I'd done some coaching qualifications. I then stepped out into the real world. Had not really got an idea of where I wanted to go, but set up a project to coach local young people and give them an opportunity through football.
Our real passion was working with young people that really needed our help and support, and the riot showed that demographic of 15 to 18 young people really need some innovative and different approaches to develop.
We typically work with young people that are from disadvantaged backgrounds, often disengaged with education, but have a passion and talent for football.
Football, do you know what I mean? Finishing school with your sweaty clothes and going straight to football, like, do you know what I mean? It's just what we knew.
The majority of our young people come from single parent families. They come from the lowest socio-economic bracket of society.
My dad hasn't been around, he passed away when I was young. Majority of the time just you and mum, so it is tough. Like, we've seen things that you don't normally see, like we've been through things. It's hard growing up.
The main thing I would say is the guidance isn't there. When I say guidance, I mean like we're thinking more maturely about the future and, you know, making football a job or whatever career you would want to have, do you know what I mean? But like just taking that next step.
A lot of our young people will live in estate environments where there's some incredibly negative influences around. So there's a safety issue for themselves, but there's also a recruitment into a life of crime, which is very prevalent in the areas where our young people reside. On top of that, there is a disparity in society, in my opinion, of how especially young black boys are perceived by society. There's barriers to them for employment, there's barriers for them in education, and that's again another layer of society that they have to overcome.
How they were being represented by their teachers or their schools was not a true reflection of that young person that came through the gates in the school holidays. Their love of football outshone the reputation that they were creating for themselves within education. From that September, October time, where we were first starting, it was the first academic year, how do we get these kids an opportunity to play football, knowing that we have the expertise and experience to deliver something good with academy coaches. So we went out to schools and said, these boys, the ones that are being shown in the media as the issue, the problem, how do we help them through their love of football stay within education, get the qualifications, and those qualifications can then open up employment opportunities, further education, and their football talent could even send them to America, university in England, or become a professional footballer.
They got me a scholarship at a private school, which was exposed to a lot of other opportunities. A lot of us studied BTEC sport, and a few of them studied geology. I haven't even heard of that subject before I went there, but yeah, there's definitely opportunities, you know what I mean?
It's very easy for students to sort of assume they're going to be sort of the next Jadon Sancho or whatnot, but they are sort of reminded on a regular basis what it takes to make it to the next level, in addition to having something to fall back on.
The academy program was born out of wanting to be fully inclusive, so not wanting to select a squad based on who can afford to pay, but in the same way when you want to put on elite level sessions with top coaches, top equipment, top facilities, there is a cost incurred, and that's where we went down the path of becoming a registered charity.
And that's when it changed from it being evening sessions that we'd get some funding for, and we'd work other jobs during the daytime. And this was now something where we had a duty of care for kids, Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. They'd train, they'd be in education, we could teach them soft skills around being on time, being polite, and we had a professional signing from that squad. And then 2, 3 followed.
That was kind of the seed, the acorn that now has developed 10 years later into a program that we like to think impacts a lot of young people across London.
Yeah, taking these chances, they wouldn't give me the answers, so I gotta go out and get it.
Watch carefully.
I'ma hold them all for ransom. This I did it right here where I'm standing. Came from the mud, they counted us out. Now we standing on the planet.
The tip of the iceberg is the elite football provision that we offer. Everything else that comes below that is far more important than the football. The football is the hook, and it also provides staff members from Kinetic the ability to build a relationship with the young people that's a positive one, because they want football. That opportunity that we have as staff members can then be leveraged into every other aspect of their life, and that's what's really powerful about the work we do.
Big 45 to go, yes? Come on.
Because we were so close, it wasn't just football. Like, I speak to Harry outside football, I speak to him to this day. The coaches as well understand us, where we're from and how we grew up, so that just made things easier. And as long as you give them the respect, they will give you the respect.
If you're a good human being, I think that emulates into their game, and we can prepare them as people to be able to progress in life. It brings them out of the experience of Kinetic with a lot more than what they come in with, and that's the main objective, is to prepare them for life outside of us.
I would say one thing that stuck with me from Kinetic is having detail. For me, it was football, but you know, going into other things and you start to realise, wait there, detail is important in everything you do. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of us play street football, and you know, all we know is just football. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot more that comes with being a footballer and obviously being an adult in this world.
We've had some incredible exit routes from Kinetic in the last 10 years.
We play between 20 and 30 showcase games a year, which is quite unheard of. Scouts will come and watch our games because of the reputation that we now have. And because of that, we've had 46 boys move on to professional clubs in 8 seasons, which is, again, quite an unheard of stat from grassroots football.
We had a trial game against Barnet where I eventually got picked up. If I wasn't there, there would have been no trial game against Barnet, so I can only thank them, really.
We've also had boys that have gone on to university and been the first kids from their family that have ever managed to access university.
The biggest thing I took away from the programme is that football doesn't stop or start on the pitch. There's so much more to it. Got the educational side, which benefited me. That allowed me to go to university. I came back from university and I was employed by Kinetic. And now I do work with them, with the academy boys. So for me, I think I've just made loads of steps up and they've just been with me along the way.
Since I've graduated from Kinetic, I've gone on to build my own brand. On that platform, we have loads of kids that I take care of. I want to go on to achieve having a brand that uplifts the football that I grew up on.
We've recently launched across London, working in North London, South London.
Which is a huge growth in the last 2 or 3 years with us.
For the future, we'd love to spread that net wider across the capital.
Early morning training sessions, you'll see the Kinetic Academy scholars training, younger students looking at them train and hopefully aspiring to be part of the programme.
A young person can come onto the Kinetic programme now, whether they're 9/9s at GCSE or whether they've got 0 past GCSE, we can offer them a programme. And that's something we're very proud of. We don't have to exclude anyone.
We rate our success by the number of young people that leave Kinetic and are in employment, education and training. So do they look back when they're in their 20s and reflect on their time with us and say, yeah, I loved my football, but the skills and insights that were given to me in those 2 years with us were invaluable, and it's given me that platform to succeed in my career, in my life choices moving forward.
It's given them a purpose in school, given them a clear sort of pathway of where they could see themselves in 2 or 3 years' time, but also an identity within the community.
It's about having the best model to be able to build that interaction that's a positive one with the young people, and will drive down the amount of young people that are unemployed, the amount of young people that feel undervalued in society, and then ultimately combat issues like the London Riots, which came to a head 10 years ago.